now we will hear about a discussion on the current EdTech landscape in higher education, the innovations and potential of hybrid flexible learning, and how to best be prepared for the future. Our speaker is a passionate advocate on the use of technology to drive student success. From Seats Software, let's welcome Mr. Owen O'Neill. Hi, Owen.
Hi, thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Let me just present my screen. Perfect. So, hi everyone. Good morning from Ireland, and thank you all for joining us today. Before I begin, I just really wanted to thank the teams at APARA and Enterprise Ireland for putting this wonderful event together and for giving Seats Software the opportunity to speak amongst such a great lineup. As mentioned, my name is Owen O'Neill, and I'm here to pose the question: is the future of higher education on a high flex or hybrid flexible trajectory? In an effort to answer this question, I will use a combination of examples we Seats have encountered as a leader in the provision of EdTech software and solutions, and from global best practices and guidelines for academic year 21-22. Moreover, I would hope to illustrate how Seats have collaborated with our clients to provide effective solutions to tackle the challenges of online learning, and as we now hope to, for a return to in-person teaching, facilitate a smooth and safe transition. Before I begin, though, I'd like to give those who aren't familiar with Seats a brief introduction. So, Seats Software was founded in 2015 and existed solely to provide higher education institutions with comprehensive attendance management. However, as the education sector has evolved, along with teaching methods and delivery, Seats too had to adapt to the changing environment. Today, the Seats Student Success Platform consists of hybrid student scheduling, attendance management for blended learning, student engagement analytics driven by applied machine learning, which we will speak of in a moment, case management for student well-being and progression, an early alert system for struggling or at-risk students, and compliance management and reporting. One, some, or all of these solutions are being used in education institutions globally and no longer solely in higher education to aid and manage student success. Due to the wide range of solutions offered, Seats have been involved with countless use cases that reinforce the suggestion that higher education is indeed on a hybrid flexible trajectory. I'll be sure to reference these use cases throughout the presentation. So, over the last 2 years, Seats have had to come up with solutions to alleviate a number of pain points for institutes of higher education. But even before the pandemic began, we noticed that more and more institutions were approaching us looking for solutions to aid in their blended learning management and delivery. Moreover, they needed to keep sight of student success within blended learning. And these two issues have been summarized in the slide. I'd like to now highlight how Seats have addressed these issues by giving you a glimpse of the relevant solutions and real-world examples where they have been effective. So, we have seen a wide variance in what learning management systems institutions use to deliver blended learning events. As you can see, there's Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, Zoom, Teams, you name it. You couple that with legacy timetabling systems that haven't adapted to provide the capacity to conduct online events. This has led to a gap in the flow of data for administration teams trying to schedule, track attendance at, and engagement with online events. To bridge this gap, Seats began providing solutions that not only align campus systems and get them speaking with one another, but also capture student attendance at online events. With Seats Scheduler, we can provide two ways to schedule blended learning events. The first is done at the import level via flat file. Event links can simply be populated and updated at scale. The second method is from within the system itself, where one-off and recurring events can be created and scheduled from scratch. It's also important to note that the scheduler can operate as a standalone timetabling system or run in conjunction with existing systems to enhance their functionality, i.e. provide them with the ability to schedule online events. Once an event or timetable has been created or imported, it can be easily synchronized to Microsoft Teams and Outlook calendars. Again, there is flexibility in how this can be done. From within Seats, you can simply click the Sync to Teams option, and events created in Microsoft Teams or Outlook can also be synced into Seats. And as a Microsoft Gold partner, we are always looking for new ways to make the transition between systems as simple as possible for administration teams. We have also, on this note, developed the Seats bot, which lies within Microsoft Teams and allows faculty and staff and advisors to quickly find student data without ever having to leave Teams. And I'd be happy to discuss this recent development in more detail with anyone who's interested. As you should be able to see under the Schedule tab on the screen, a new addition to Seats has been the ability to distinguish at a glance between online and in-person attendees for lectures. The academic conducting this event can view their students within the event details page and launch the event from there. Once the event has been launched, Seats eAttend and the student mobile app come into play. The Seats mobile application has undergone an upgrade packed with useful metrics like at-a-glance averages of attendance, engagement, and grades, and the added benefit of students being able to join their blended learning events from the app. If students join the event via the link provided, their attendance statistics will be updated. Students can also check in and out of physical class, add absences, track progress, and more. Aston University, a client, excellently described the mobile app as a Fitbit for student success. An example of these solutions at work has been our collaboration with the European School of Osteopathy. The biggest impact for ESO following the implementation of Seats has been the time saved for faculty, students and lecturers. Seats Scheduler has reduced the time it takes to create and share a timetable for a term from 2 weeks down to 1 day. Lecturers and students no longer need to contact faculty for information about their attendance and timetable, as is now available on their smartphone. Also, changing a scheduled class in the timetable now takes 1 click, with mobile notifications automatically sent directly to student and lecturers' phones to avoid confusion. Moving on to the second pain point we've encountered. As institutions moved solely from in-person teaching to a blended approach, the relevance of physical attendance in the student engagement equation began to diminish with the inclusion of more and more variables. Visibility over the student journey was becoming elusive. How were institutions to effectively keep track of student well-being and progression in the virtual campus, and also ensure that no student falls through the cracks? To adapt to the shift in learning delivery, Seats began developing learning analytics and an early alert system powered by machine learning. So the Seats Learning Analytics dashboard, as you can see here, is configurable to the institution's needs. Rather than attendance being the main driver, engagement with other learning platforms and campus technology can be fed into the application, generating an overall score for student engagement. Student engagement scores are collated from more than 50 student touch points. And all of this is being delivered using prescriptive analytics that surface patterns and present them in easy to use and understand dashboards, reports, and workflows. In many respects, this can be enough to move the dial on most key performance indicators over time. But there is another incredibly powerful tool in the Seats armory, and that is applied machine learning and AI. This brings us into the realm of predictive analytics, using past outcomes to help predict future performance and outcomes. And in the case of student success, surface points at which critical early interventions can change outcomes for future students. Here are some examples of integrations and touch points we have out of the box. These engagement signals can be weighted to represent true engagement for a school or course. For example, an engineering school might put more emphasis on time spent in labs than perhaps a law school that might prioritize library time or accessing online resources, and the weightings can reflect them. So how do we do this? Okay, I don't want to make it sound too simple because our data science team have worked long and hard on this, but in its simplest form, Seats have built a machine learning engine that consumes the data points highlighted in the graphic. So what we do is take that data, consolidate it into lookalike engagement signals. As an example, online video views are grouped with class attendance or lecture capture watchback. We then normalize the data using traditional statistical techniques in the background. This ensures that all student engagement is measured evenly and not skewed by an absence of data points for a particular signal. One of our customers in the UK has used Seats Learning Analytics to assess previous first-year student background information that contributed to dropouts in the first semester. Moving forward, they were able to plot incoming students' likelihood to succeed and provide extra support and attention to those first years from similar backgrounds in education. They saw an 8% increase in attendance in the first semester and a 14.4% increase in student retention the first year after implementation. Seats early alerts can be understood as the safety net to accompany effective case management. It's a real-time early warning system that triggers if a student drops under the predefined engagement scores we spoke about in the previous slide. They, as well as relevant faculty and staff, will be sent real-time warnings and invitations to connect with next steps and customizable messaging if they drop under a predefined score. An example of an institution in further education where these solutions have had positive impacts is Kingsman Academy. Their objective was to find a solution that measured quantitative and qualitative real-time engagement data from a range of physical and virtual systems that gave individual context to their barrier for success and also informed a personal intervention plan. All this needed to be achieved in one platform. And with the Seat Student Success platform, Kingsman Academy are now able to capture online and physical student engagement. The platform integrated with their current LMS. They can measure socio-demographic information to determine achievable goals. They calculate a multi-tier student success score based on a range of engagement data. And they can identify at-risk students and notify assigned intervention coordinators. And finally, generate reports from a range of data points. So with the arrival of the global pandemic, we saw a drastic, necessary shift to remote online learning. Accompanying this move were new challenges and requirements to meet from both a learning delivery and student wellness perspective. For Seats, this also meant we had to adapt our solutions to help existing clients manage the unprecedented situation they were in, as well as hybrid scheduling, online attendance and engagement tracking, and an early alert system to provide the much needed visibility over the now entirely virtual student journey. We began working on ways to ensure a safe return to in-person teaching in the future. So, with a focus on conducting at reduced room capacity, each event that is imported or created within the system can be easily adjusted. In the example on screen, room 404 has a default capacity of 100. However, the scheduler has reduced this to a capacity of 35. This flexibility in adjusting per event allows for social distancing measures to be adhered to if applicable and has a positive impact on utilization reports. You can see here that this example event has been scheduled to take place at a reduced capacity in room 404. For this event specifically, the choice will be provided to the student to either attend physically or remotely via our claim seat functionality. Using the application, the student can view their events and decide their mode of attendance. If they decide to attend physically, a simple click on claim seat, as you see here, will book their slot to physically attend. And if the student changes their mind, they can simply unclaim the seat and opt to attend online, freeing that space up for another student to attend. The claim seat functionality works in conjunction with the room capacity. Therefore, registration for the event will close once the capacity has been reached, i.e. at 35. Building on from this, Seat Software is delighted to have partnered with Juniper Mist to create a safe return to campus and in-person teaching, pairing their innovative virtual Bluetooth large-scale location services with our student success management platform. With the combined solution, administrators can manage room capacities with ease, and students using Seat's e-attendance, mobile app, and analytics with the power of Juniper Mist location services can check in and out of physical class And if the room capacity has been reached, will receive an in-app notification in real time to leave the class, as well as the option to attend the lecture online. And you can see how this aspect of the joint solution works in the short video. As capacity starts to reach, you'll see that the 21st person to enter the room, as they check in, will be notified that the capacity for the room has reached, and they will have the option then to attend online. So, what does the future hold for higher education? I don't want to labour the point I'm about to make, because I'm sure you are all more than aware of the guidelines you are facing for this academic year. I just wanted to illustrate that although the severity of restrictions may vary from country to country, the unifying requirement for institutions seems to be the capacity to adapt to new guidelines and restrictions. In the United States, institutes of higher education where not everyone is fully vaccinated on campus are being advised to make decisions that protect the people who are not fully vaccinated. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have outlined these points amongst their best practices. As well as this, they have stated contact tracing with students, faculty and staff associated with the campus should be anticipated as a crucial strategy to reduce further transmission. In the United Kingdom, there has been a record number of students receiving qualifications. And while this is positive news, coupling extra student numbers with limited room capacities equates to the need for blended learning to continue for the foreseeable future. One of the consequences of this for administration teams is the task of capturing and reporting substantive online attendance and engagement for visa and immigration compliance purposes. In Ireland, we are fortunate enough to be optimistic of return to predominantly on-site teaching. However, there is still a need for flexibility in teaching delivery, specifically when thinking about managing room capacities, as well as scheduling and facilitating online options. For New Zealand, the call is again for adaptability. As well as this, on the 23rd of August, the Ministry of Education released the Tertiary Provider and International Bulletin, which states that record keeping will become a requirement. Tertiary education organisations have to ensure to the greatest extent possible that each person entering their facilities makes a record of their visit. Finally, in Singapore, the guidelines from the Ministry of Education echoes the unavoidable increase in administrative tasks on institutions' scheduling teams, as we've seen in other countries. I would be lying if I could say that, if I could predict with any certainty what the future may hold for higher education. However, judging from global guidelines, best practices and first-hand experiences, there is a definite need for flexibility in how institutions deliver teaching to ensure both the safety and success of their students. Thank you all for your time and attention. Feel free to use either of the email addresses highlighted here to voice any queries you may have. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Thank you, Owen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And now we're getting ready for our next session. So